Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Always exciting to dig into some new material.
This time we're exploring alternative therapies.
Specifically for arthritis and cancer.
We've got a whole bunch of different sources this time.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Articles promoting various treatments.
Yeah.
Some personal stories.
Interesting.
Even some info from a clinic.
A clinic?
Yeah, Buenos Aires.
Wow. So we're going international this time.
It's going to be a fascinating deep dive.
Definitely lots to unpack.
And it's really important to remember as we go through this,
What's that?
we are not endorsing any particular treatment here.
Of course. Of course.
The goal is to just explore these different perspectives.
Makes sense.
Understand the claims that are being made.
Okay.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
to really sharpen those critical thinking skills
I like it.
when it comes to health information.
Especially online.
Especially online, exactly.
So much information out there.
So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
One of the things we saw popping up again and again was magnesium chloride
Magnesium chloride.
as this potential cure-all.
Really? For everything?
Well, they were saying everything from arthritis
Okay.
to prostate issues to even cancer.
I know magnesium is important.
Yeah.
But a cure-all.
That's what they're saying.
Interesting.
There's even this one article
Yeah.
with a testimonial from a priest
A period.
who claimed he was basically paralyzed
Oh, wow.
due to some spinal problems.
Okay.
And he said magnesium chloride totally cured him.
That's a pretty powerful story.
It is, right?
Especially if you're someone struggling with chronic pain.
Exactly. It really tugs at your heartstrings.
It does.
But then you have to wonder,
You have to wonder what.
what's the science behind this?
Yeah, exactly.
The sources mention things like
Like what?
magnesium rearranges calcium in the body
Mm.
and activates over 300 enzymes.
300.
Yeah, but it all feels very vague,
It does sound a bit oversimplified.
doesn't it?
Like there's got to be more to it than that.
Right. Is it really that simple?
Just take some magnesium chloride and poof, you're cured.
Yeah,
The human body is so complex.
it really is.
There's rarely these quick fixes.
Especially when it comes to chronic conditions.
Like arthritis or cancer.
Yeah, and that brings us to this crucial point.
Which is,
Critical evaluation.
oh, absolutely.
Just because someone says something with conviction
Right.
or it sounds scientific
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's actually true.
You always got to dig deeper.
You do.
Ask those tough questions.
Like what?
What's the evidence?
Okay,
What are the potential risks and benefits?
good point.
Are there other explanations?
Yeah, are there other things going on here?
Exactly.
Speaking of other explanations.
Oh, yeah.
Let's shift gears a bit
Okay. I'm intrigued.
to this clinic in Buenos Aires.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, called TOB.
TOB. Okay.
They claim to offer a drug-free, non-invasive treatment,
For what?
osteoarthritis. They use something they call biomolecular organizational therapy.
That sounds very sciencey,
It does.
but I've never heard of it.
Me neither, actually.
What is it exactly?
That's the thing. They don't really go into detail. They
Okay.
talk about restoring cellular function,
Okay.
treating the whole person,
Sounds good.
but in terms of how they actually do it,
Yeah.
it's very vague,
That's a little concerning.
isn't it?
Makes you wonder why they're being so secretive.
Well, if it's as effective as they say,
Yeah.
you'd think they'd want to share more details.
I guess so.
It definitely raises some questions.
It does.
All right, let's move on to some other natural remedies.
Okay, like what?
Well, we came across a few others.
Mm-hmm.
Perna canaliculus.
Perna canaliculus. What's that?
It's a green mussel extract.
Okay.
Then there's frankincense,
Frankincense.
and even this vaguely described substance
Oh,
derived from animal fats.
interesting.
It's interesting how these
Really
sources,
further-
they often rely on anecdotal evidence.
More than scientific research.
Yeah, much more,
That's something to keep in mind.
for sure.
Personal stories can be powerful,
They can.
but they don't always tell the whole story.
Exactly. Like with the Perna canaliculus.
The green mussel extract,
Yeah, it's touted for its anti-inflammatory properties.
which could be good for arthritis.
Right. But is it really effective?
And at what dosage?
We need more research.
Absolutely.
And then there's that animal fat remedy.
The one that was vaguely described.
Yeah, they claim it was this major discovery, but it got suppressed
Suppressed. Why?
because it threatened the pharmaceutical industry.
Ah, the classic conspiracy theory.
Right.
It's a compelling story,
It is.
but we need evidence.
Exactly. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
And in this case, the evidence just isn't there.
So while these natural remedies might hold some potential,
Okay.
it's important to remember
What's that?
that natural doesn't automatically mean...
Safe or effective. Safe or effective, exactly.
Good point.
We need to apply that same critical lens.
That we use for everything else.
Exactly.
Consider the evidence
The risks.
and the potential benefits.
All right, ready for something completely different.
And hit me with it.
This one doesn't involve any substances at all.
Really? What is it?
Fasting.
Fasting.
Yep, several sources talked about it.
Interesting.
Both water fasting
Right.
and juice fasting.
As a way to detox and heal.
Exactly, and they claim a ton of benefits.
Like what?
Weight loss,
Makes sense.
giving your digestive system a break,
Okay.
enhanced elimination of toxins.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, they claim that when you fast,
Yeah.
your body actually consumes tissues.
What do you mean consumes tissues?
Like it breaks them down for energy,
Okay.
but it does it in reverse order of importance.
So the least important tissues first.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Oh, man.
But do we know how that works?
I mean, it's a captivating idea.
It is this idea that our bodies are so smart.
Yeah.
They know which tissues to sacrifice.
Keep us alive.
Right. But our understanding of that process
Yeah.
is still evolving. But then these sources,
Yeah.
they go even further.
What do you mean?
They're saying fasting can cure like almost anything.
Really? Like what?
Arthritis, cancer, you name it.
I'm skeptical.
They even talk about doctors from over a century ago
Oh, wow, way back then.
who used fasting as their primary treatment.
It's tempting to romanticize the past,
I know, right?
but medical knowledge has come a long way.
It really has.
What was considered cutting edge back then
Yeah.
might be outdated now.
Or even harmful.
Exactly, so we have to be careful.
Absolutely. And while there is growing interest,
In fasting.
yeah, and its potential therapeutic applications,
Okay,
it's crucial to be balanced.
what do you mean?
These sources tend to gloss over the risks.
What kind of risks?
Well, prolonged fasting,
Yeah,
especially without proper supervision.
could be dangerous.
It can lead to nutrient deficiencies,
Okay.
electrolyte imbalances,
Uh-huh.
even organ damage.
Wow, so it's not something to mess around with.
Definitely not.
You need medical guidance.
Absolutely.
So it's not as simple as
Just stop eating and you'll heal.
Yeah, it's a complex process.
That requires careful consideration.
And adequate supervision.
Now, this brings us to one of the most controversial claims
Uh-oh. What's that?
about fasting.
Okay.
Its supposed ability to cure cancer.
Cure cancer.
That's what they're saying.
How?
The idea is
Well,
you can starve the cancer cells
starve them
by
of
depriving them of glucose.
the sugar they need to grow.
Exactly.
I've heard of that.
They even share the story of this guy,
Ooh.
Rudolf Bros.
Rudolph Bruce.
He developed this specific juice mixture
For what?
for cancer patients
Okay.
to use during a 42-day fast.
42 days.
That's a long time.
It is.
But again, anecdotes aren't evidence.
Right. Just because it worked for him.
Doesn't mean it works for everyone.
Exactly.
While there is some research.
On fasting and cancer.
Yeah, it's still in its very early stages.
So we can't draw any conclusions yet,
Not yet.
but it's definitely something to watch.
It is.
It's important, though,
It is.
that people don't delay or refuse conventional treatment
Absolutely.
in favor of fasting.
Evidence-based medicine should always be the foundation.
Always.
So while fasting might be promising as a complementary therapy,
It's not a cure.
definitely not a cure for cancer.
And it should only be done under medical supervision.
Okay, let's take a quick pause here
Okay.
and recap what we've learned.
About evaluating health information.
Exactly.
It's so easy to get caught up,
In the excitement of a potential breakthrough,
especially online.
we have to remember,
Not everything we read is true,
we need to be discerning consumers.
especially when it comes to our health.
Ask those critical questions.
Like, what's the evidence?
Are there any risks?
What are the benefits?
Are there other explanations?
Those are good ones.
And remember,
Yeah.
personal anecdotes,
How powerful.
they're not a substitute for scientific evidence.
That's a really important point.
All right, we've still got a lot to unpack,
Like what?
including a claim about sugar and cancer.
Sugar and cancer.
Yeah, you're not going to believe this one.
I'm all ears. The sugar and cancer thing.
I know, it sounds kind of crazy.
It does, doesn't it?
Like something you'd hear from your wacky aunt.
Exactly.
But the claim is
Yeah.
refined white sugar
Mm-hmm.
feeds cancer cells,
Okay.
but brown cane sugar doesn't.
That's interesting.
Is there any truth to that?
Well, scientifically speaking,
Yeah.
it's not really accurate.
How so?
Both white sugar and brown sugar
Okay.
are mostly sucrose.
So our bodies process them the same way.
Pretty much.
It's an oversimplification then
It is.
to say the one feeds cancer and one doesn't?
Right. It's not that black and white.
That's a good example of how misinformation spreads,
Oh, absolutely.
even in the health world.
People want easy answers.
They do.
And these kinds of claims,
Yeah,
they prey on that,
they do.
creating fear and confusion.
So it's always best
To what?
to go back to the source.
Look at the research.
Understand the nuances.
Cancer is a complex disease.
Very complex.
Blaming it all on sugar
Yeah.
is way too simplistic.
Okay, let's get back to TOB.
The clinic in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, their website mentions
Mhm.
this drug-free, non-invasive approach.
Right, but what does that actually mean?
I'm still not quite clear
On what?
what this biomolecular organizational therapy is.
It does sound impressive,
Very scientific.
but we still don't know what it is.
They use all this evocative language,
Like,
restoring cellular function,
okay,
treating the whole person.
sounds good.
But it's incredibly vague.
They don't give any specifics
What really?
about the actual treatment methods.
Or the mechanisms involved.
Or the evidence.
It's almost like
Like what?
they're trying to be mysterious.
Create an aura of exclusivity.
Yeah. But when it comes to our health, transparency is so important.
We need to know what's happening.
Absolutely.
We deserve clear explanations.
And evidence.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
how can we assess the risks and benefits?
Exactly. All right, let's revisit
Yes.
some of those other natural remedies.
Oh yeah, the ones we talked about before.
Perna canaliculus,
The green mussel extract.
frankincense,
Uh-huh.
and that mysterious animal fat substance.
What struck me about these
Yeah.
is the heavy reliance on anecdotal evidence.
Again, more stories than science.
There might be something there.
Yeah.
Some mechanism that deserves further research.
But the claims are often exaggerated.
Way beyond what the science can support.
Like with the Perna canaliculus,
Okay.
it's supposed to be anti-inflammatory.
Which makes sense for arthritis.
Right.
It
Right.
contains glycosaminoglycans.
Which do what?
They help lubricate joints.
Interesting.
And there's that anecdotal evidence.
From who?
The Maori people in New Zealand,
I've heard of them.
they traditionally eat these mussels
Okay.
and seem to have less osteoarthritis.
But correlation doesn't equal causation.
Exactly.
We need more research to see if it actually works.
Absolutely.
And same thing with frankincense.
There's some early research
Anti-
suggesting anti-inflammatory effects.
But we need more
Much more.
to really understand it.
Dosage, side effects, long-term efficacy,
And then there's that animal fat thing.
but one with no details.
Yeah, just vague claims about it being this huge discovery
That got suppressed.
because it wasn't a pharmaceutical drug.
Sounds like a conspiracy theory.
It does, doesn't it?
It's a common narrative.
In the alternative medicine world.
This idea that there's some secret cure
Being hidden from us,
by the powers that be.
it's tempting to believe,
I know.
especially when you're dealing with a health challenge. But we have to step back.
And ask ourselves.
What's more likely?
Grand conspiracy. The evidence just isn't there.
And in this case,
Yeah.
there are no specifics. No name for the substance.
No research.
No scientist who discovered it.
It's hard to take seriously.
It is.
It highlights the need for transparency
Yeah.
and accountability.
When we're evaluating health information.
Especially these claims of miracle cures.
If it's truly effective,
Yeah.
there should be evidence, not just vague claims and conspiracies.
Okay, let's talk about fasting.
Fasting, yeah.
These sources present it as
A way to detox and heal.
weight loss, better digestion.
Even curing chronic diseases.
I'm intrigued by fasting.
Me too.
There's something appealing about it.
Giving your body a break.
From digesting food,
Mhm.
letting it focus on other things.
An ancient practice.
Yeah, often tied to spirituality.
And there is some research.
On its potential benefits.
But these sources,
What about them?
they kind of go overboard,
How so?
claiming it can cure everything.
From arthritis to cancer.
They even talk about old-time doctors.
Using it as their main treatment.
It's important to acknowledge.
That fasting does change the body.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful
About what?
attributing those changes to detox or healing.
Right. Our understanding of fasting,
He's still evolving.
just because someone's health improves while fasting,
Doesn't mean fasting caused
there
it.
could be other factors,
Like diet changes.
lifestyle modifications. And these sources,
Yeah,
they focus on the benefits.
but ignore the risks.
Prolonged fasting
Especially without supervision.
can be dangerous.
Nutrient deficiencies.
Electrolyte imbalances.
Even worse complications.
It's not something to do lightly,
You need to talk to a doctor.
especially if you have health conditions.
Yeah.
One of the most striking claims,
About fasting.
is that it can starve cancer cells.
I've heard that before.
The idea is
You deprive them of glucose.
the sugar they need to grow.
They even talk about
Rudolph Bruce.
the juice guy
Yeah, who used a special juice mix
during a 42-day fast.
for cancer patients.
Again, anecdotes aren't evidence.
Right, just because it worked for some people.
Doesn't mean it works for everyone.
And the research on fasting and cancer?
It's very preliminary.
Mostly animal studies.
Or small groups of people.
Too early to say for sure.
If it's effective or safe.
And it's really crucial.
That people don't delay conventional treatment.
In favor of fasting.
Evidence-based medicine should always come first.
So fasting might have potential.
As a complementary therapy.
But it's not a cure for cancer.
And it should always be supervised by a doctor. Now, there was this other treatment mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Called the Friar's Cure.
The Friar's Cure. Huh.
Yeah, pretty interesting name, right?
Sounds like something out of a history book.
It does a bit.
So what is it?
It's attributed to this Brazilian friar.
A friar.
Named Romano.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be this blend of simple ingredients.
Like what?
Honey.
Okay.
Aloe vera.
Makes sense.
And a little bit of hard alcohol.
Alcohol. Really?
That's what they say.
For cancer?
Yeah. Supposedly cures all types.
Honey and aloe, I get.
Yeah, those have been used for ages.
But alcohol seems a bit out there.
The source suggests it acts as a vasodilator.
A vasodilator.
Meaning it widens blood vessels.
Okay.
So maybe it helps the mixture circulate better?
So they're trying to give it a scientific explanation?
Kind of.
But it's still pretty vague.
It is.
And there's this whole backstory.
Oh, yeah.
About Friar Romano giving the cure away for free.
Not profiting from it.
Yeah, refusing to.
Sounds familiar.
Right.
Plays into that whole suppressed knowledge thing.
Exactly.
Distrust of big pharma.
Natural cures being hidden.
But as we've been saying...
Extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence.
And here, the evidence is all anecdotal.
They do mention some people...
who were cured.
Yeah, supposedly cured of terminal cancer.
After using this mixture.
But again, anecdotes aren't data.
We don't know the details of their cases.
Or what other treatments they had. Maybe other factors were involved.
It's possible.
And it's interesting. This Friar's Cure.
Yeah.
It's not just for cancer.
Oh, really?
It's supposed to be this general cell restorer, immune system booster. Like a panacea for everything. A cure-all. That's what they're saying.
That should always make you suspicious.
Right.
If it cures everything, it probably cures nothing.
Exactly. It's that lack of specificity.
That makes it so appealing.
To people who are desperate.
They're looking for any hope.
And these claims prey on that.
It's understandable.
It is.
But we have to be careful.
Not to abandon evidence-based medicine.
Unproven remedies.
One source even says...
What?
That a healthy immune system can eliminate 2,000 cancer cells a day.
2,000.
That's what they say.
Implying that all we need to do
is boost our immune systems.
And cancer's gone.
Poof.
Again, oversimplification.
Right.
The immune system is important.
Absolutely.
But it's not that simple.
Cancer's way more complex than that.
It's not just about boosting your immunity.
This whole deep dive has been a real lesson.
In critical thinking.
Especially with health information online.
There's so much out there.
We can't just believe everything we read.
We have to be skeptical.
Ask questions.
Look for reliable sources.
Talk to qualified professionals.
And remember, natural or alternative doesn't mean safe or effective.
We need to apply the same scrutiny.
To all health decisions.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Magnesium chloride, fasting, green mussels.
Even the Friar's Cure.
Some intriguing claims.
Dubious.
Some downright outlandish.
It's all been about sharpening those critical thinking skills.
Exploring different perspectives.
Examining the evidence.
Hopefully you feel better equipped now.
To navigate the world of health information.
So as you continue your exploration
of alternative therapies,
remember to approach everything with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Don't be swayed by emotions or anecdotes.
Dig deeper. Look for evidence.
Talk to your doctor. Your health is your responsibility.
The choices you make today
impact your well-being tomorrow.
Be informed. Be an advocate.
Make those choices wisely.
These sources talked a lot about...
About what?
The body's ability to heal itself.
Right.
What factors do you think play a role in that?
That's something to think about.
As you continue your journey.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Into the world of alternative treatments.
Until next time.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep learning.